What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Different groups of men are simply going to have different perspectives on the game. And let me just be clear, when I say game, consider it a euphemism for, man gets women and everything. Yeah, coming from the gym. And, it's quick. Somebody say, hey, Rom's filming at night now. No, if you watch the whole video, you'll see the sun be rising. Just early in the morning. This is my morning coffee and everything. So, anyway, you know what made me think about that whole thing about just the different perspectives and stuff? Because I told y'all, when I get up in the morning, I check all my websites, my traps, my bank accounts, everything, credit card accounts. I check everything. I also check Facebook, Also check Facebook. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah. So anyway, I check out Facebook, and I saw someone who I'm familiar with. We both know some people in common. This is a serious player. And he had a post. He said, he don't pay for pussy no more. He said that shit. And, and you got all these guys coming on there trying to say, oh, you still got to pay. But, I was looking at that because I was thinking about my own situation. And I ain't never really, definitely never paid a woman, but even taking on a date, since last time you could even say that happened was the 80s until I really got into body game. Then I saw, oh, that shit was unnecessary. Because after that, I had women just come straight to the place. I remember one woman, it was late night on a Saturday night and stuff. She gave me a call. She lived in my building, all of a sudden knocking on my door. Not one penny spent. A lot of times, that happened a lot in that particular apartment building. Hold on for a second. And honestly, up to this day, any women I got with, even in my 50s, I ain't had to spend money on them at first. I ain't had to spend money before getting with them. There were even a couple never even went out on a date with. No, I take that back. There was one I went out on a date with, but she paid. She asked me out. So, that was the first and last time we went out together. And she paid. She asked me out. She paid. And I was dealing with her for a bit. And I had a bunch of women like that. And, that's just my reality. And I was thinking about that because I was thinking about that dude on Facebook. I mean, that was his reality. But then a bunch of guys say, oh, you got to pay. And, I've done some videos saying, I ain't with that payment thing, And let me say something about that real quick, because every time you say, well, you got to pay time, energy. Well, ain't the woman paying her time and energy to get with you? Ain't she doing her thing? She fixing up. She working out. She trying to look good. She spending her time with you, ain't she? Fair exchange is no robbery. So it's so wait a minute, how's that payment? And let's be real. Everybody know with some common sense, payment means you spending your money to get with that woman. You spending that money, you buying some stuff to get with that woman. See, everybody try to fake some shit. But forget that. But that's just one angle. And that's a reality for some guys, right? That is a reality for some guys. But then you get some other guys that's not a reality for. That's not a reality for. In my book, Nice Guys and Players, when I talk about actually 5 categories of men, but I don't talk about the real man that much. And let's just say the real man's that man who's made it, who's developed his will. He's truly a thorough man. And that's a separate conversation. But the four main categories of men that I discuss: Mr. Goodbar, the Masked Man, the Gamesman, and the nice guy. Now, all of them, every single one going, if you have a conversation with a man from each of those groups, they're going to talk about women differently. For example, the nice guy, of course, is going to say, hey, they don't want good guys like me. They don't want nice guys. They all want thugs. They all want thugs, you know? Or, you know, they want me to be the cleanup man or something, you know? Or they just constantly rejected me. Okay. But that's their perspective, you know? Even some of them, they'll say, you know, they don't want me because I'm too short. Or, I don't have a square jaw. Okay, that's their perspective, you know? Now, does it make it, like, objectively true? Of course not, because 3 other groups, they're going to have a different thing. But that's still their world. That's still their world. And it is what it is. But then you talk about the next group, the gamesman. The gamesman. Now, the gamesman is that guy, he got to get a woman by any means necessary. Some of them, they'll take the opportunity that's presented, but a lot of them think they're nice guys, and, you know, they're just, you know, if they get a shot, they'll take it, or they'll be real persistent, something like that. But generally, they non-select, especially to the more attractive women. The few gamesmen who could say got even a decent count are men who they just figured out, like, how to find that easy girl or something like that, or there's a whole bunch of stuff, because that's actually the largest group. But for the most part, they got to take what they get. You got scavengers in there, guys dealing with I'll say less than attractive women on a consistent basis, stuff of that nature. And but they're going to have a different perspective, because they'll say, nah, man, you got to spit at all these girls. Or, nah, man, you got to do what you got to do. Nah, man, you just got to be persistent. You know, they're going, whatever thing works to get them a little bit, they're going to think, okay, that's the world. That's what you got to do. You know? And, you know, that's their perspective. That's their perspective. Now, both the gamesmen and the nice guys are non-select. They both non-select. The women, they not the women's first choice. You know? You know, people use that 80-20 rule, which really is closer to 60-40. But still, you know, if you acknowledge that more men are non-select, more men are beta, more men are in the 80% than they are in the select group, the alphas and all of that. Okay. But whatever the case. But the gamesmen and the nice guys, they non-select. But see, they both got separate perspectives. And a lot of times, I'm going to be real with you. A lot of people, guys talking about game online, I ain't calling any names. Probably more in that gamesman category. Maybe a few of them are select, but mainly in that gamesman category. Like I say, I'm going to be nice. I ain't going to call any names. Or any groups, rather. Got all this. But they still going to have different perspectives. But then you get the select group. Those are the masked men and the Mr. Goodbars. Now, the masked men, their perspective is definitely about, well, you got to have money, you got to have position, and all of that. Because, you know, and I've said several times, a lot of people think I poo-poo money and status. No, if you listen to me closely, I just say sex appeal is better. That's it. That's all I always say. Sex appeal is, like, way better. But the reality out here, especially from a social perspective, and I've talked more about this on my Rom TV series I just started, Spotting Cheating Women. I get into it. I put a link to that series in the description box. But the reality is, you know, at least for the time being, despite what some guys think, mainly guys from the non-select perspective, you still got a lot of women, they going for that guy because, hey, You know what? He got a certain lifestyle, and I got a video coming talking about that. He's a doctor. He's an attorney. He's a professional. You know. Shoot, you got parents that telling their children, their girls, to say, no, go get that doctor, go get that attorney. You know, have that money, get that guy with status. And a lot of women go for it. So they select. They definitely select. You know. That's why, you know, I always challenge anybody to act like select men don't have money. No, you got a whole group of them that do. Only thing with them, though, they still got to play that game. And that mask is, see, once a woman gets past that mask, she don't usually like what she see. So once you get past your status and all of that, now smart mask man, a serious player. Smart mask man don't let a woman get past it. But they on a type of game too, you know. But that's that mask. Now, see, their perspective is, oh, nah, yeah, man, you got to be in a position of authority and all of that. And they definitely get one. Like if, like I said, a whole lot of them, they're going to be professionals. They in the six figures. They're going to be considered the high value men. So they're going to get some play. But then their perspective on why they there is, you know, that money, that status, high value, whatever. So they going to have a different perspective. And then you got Mr. Goodbar. Their game is just raw sex appeal. They're the main ones who are going to be like, nah, spend money on women. Nah. They the ones, you know, they were the ones, like, as kids getting those little girls in the neighborhood and stuff. You know, when they were teenagers. Shoot, in the kindergarten, you know, had the little girls chasing them, passing them the notes and everything. Hey, how we used to say, hey, you want to give me a chance? Can I have a chance? The women be coming for. You know, those are the guys who, like in the neighborhoods, that single woman, whether she's married or not, be having them come over. He cut the grass for her. And she'd be like, oh, you sweaty. Take off that shirt, baby. You want some water? Bow, bow, bow. Yes, ma'am, I want some water. Oh, baby, you don't have to call me ma'am. You can just call me Wand. Yeah, they the ones be having those stories and stuff. Sometimes they go, you know, to get old, to get a job, be a personal trainer. Or some other male thought profession. You know, Belle Exotic dancer. Started off, they sponsored, kept, you know, like boy toy. Yeah, they get the pie handed to them. But then their perspective is just going to be totally different. They ain't even going to have a concept of spending money on a woman. They'll tell you the stories of how a woman bought them something. Paid their bills, let them drive her car. Shoot. They going to have a totally different perspective. And the thing is, let's just be real. Everybody has that different thing. But see, you know, most people, men or woman, a man or a woman, they think the whole world is whatever they perceive. Well, their world is what they perceive, but people have different perspectives. You know? People have different perspectives. Because I'll use myself for an example. When my book, Nice Guys and Players, first came out, I couldn't sell it to nice guys. I was like pulling teeth. In fact, I'm going to tell you how deep it was. It was the Goodbars who were buying it like crazy. I remember I would, with my co-parent, I'd be selling it with her. She'd be right there. She could look right at a man coming towards the table when I would be doing book signs and say, okay, he going to buy it. He going to be a problem. Like, I'm going to tell you how I used to work with all four groups. Nice guys wouldn't buy my shit. They walk past, probably sneer or something. You know? They wouldn't even buy it. Or if they even bother to stop to talk, they would take up time. I had to get to the point. I had to, like, move them along. Because I'm like, well, I got other people to talk to. Seriously. You know, even in some seminars or something, they the ones be arguing with you. You know? Because they say, nah, ain't no way. Women don't do stuff like that. No, they don't do it for you. And in fact, I got a story about that in a second. and it had to do with Mr. Goodbar. But here's like the second type of guy, gamesman. They already got game. They don't need. I had this one guy, this short guy, short, overweight Italian guy. He looked like straight Bama. This was in Philly. He had a bunch of chains on. He looked corny as shit. He's like, man, I don't need that book. I already know everything you got in it. I said, now you know what I got in it. You know, he thought he had that game. He looked like a clown. But he was on some gamesman stuff. Gamesmen be in their own world about shit. You know? So they ain't buy it. The masked men, a lot of them, they thought they were on top of it. They thought they were select, but they thought they were top. They would buy it, but I had to sell it to them a little bit. I had to be on some salesmanship with them. I had just a little bit, you know? And even they try to play it off, be like, let me support a brother. And everything. Even when we got in discussions, so, you know, let me check it out. And then Mr. Goodbar. The guys who own some Goodbar stuff. The guys, like I said, my co-parent be right there. It'd just be like, nah, he gonna get it. He gonna get it. He fine. He gonna get it. Yeah. They come right. I wouldn't even have to sell it to them. And some dudes walk up, they just put the money down and just take it and kept walking. So like, damn. In fact, I got a second story about it. The first story about that Goodbar thing. I remember, I never forget, I was doing a presentation for this group. And most of them had bought the book, and they were doing presentations off the different characters. The gamesman one was funny as shit. That dude, he's one of those like gamesman types. You know, he still got some. But they played all the scenarios I described. They acted them out, and 3 out of 4 they got correct. The fourth one was on Mr. Goodbar. And so a guy, you know, this guy and his young lady played out the thing, right? They played out the thing. Then I said it was totally incorrect. It was totally, I had to like stop them. I was there with my co-parent again. And that was funny because, you know, we were together. We were married at the time. And that was funny in itself because I was like standing in the front getting ready. And she was like sitting down kind of in front of me. But it didn't look like we were, you know, it wouldn't be obvious we were together until we started, you know, we got the thing going. It was funny as shit watching these guys inch towards her. Because she had on this blue dress that we still affectionately call the Moneymaker. Oh, Lord. In fact, she had 3 dresses. One we called the Moneymaker. That's what she wore out. Like, you know, she going to something, you know, gathering the people. Then there was Super Moneymaker. That was this black, nice, tight black dress with a slit down like in the back. Oh, my Lord. Man. And then we had Magnum Moneymaker. Man, that shit, man, we had to keep that in a special place. A short red dress. That's why I got 2 sons, yo. That's why I got 2 sons. Anyway. So there was that incident. So that actually inspired sexual chemistry because they were totally clueless about that. And then there was this other incident. I mentioned this one before. Oh my God. Doing a book signing. I never forget doing a book signing for this guy who had a kiosk. It was in Laurel Mall. And we sitting there, I'm doing pretty well, you know, had the crew there, had co-parent there. And then all of a sudden, it was like a spotlight popped up. It was like a spotlight popped up. And you heard music in the back, like, what the? And nobody was playing it, but that was just the energy this dude brought. And this Hispanic guy came walking up with an entourage. He had an entourage. Good Lord, girl. He had an entourage. That was so funny. I mean, it was like a spotlight on him. And he came up. That dude was thorough as shit. Motherfucker had like $100 haircut. Had on like this little thorough silk shirt. It was like a reality show or something. Had these slacks, Italian joint shoes. Definitely practiced body game. My man came up. He He looked at the book, because on the back of Nice Guys and Players, I said, are you a nice guy who can't get any women? And are you a player who can get every woman except the one you want? He picked it up, looked at that part. He said, this is who I am. How much? And man, I mean, him and his crew, we were just cracking up. The capitalist in me almost gave it to him for free. Almost. I made that motherfucker pay. But anyway, I was like, man, you could just tell. If this dude said, yeah, I be getting play, guys be like, yeah. Shit, the black pill community, they wouldn't call him like Chad or Tyrone. They would call him Enrique or whatever term they use for Hispanic month. But that dude was just on some thorough player shit. I was like, you could just tell. I mean, the charisma. He had an entourage. We were calling him Rico Suave. But anyway, back to the main thing. You know, guys like that just had, they just have a different charisma. And, it's just with different groups, man. Different groups are going to just see shit differently, man. And, you get somebody say, no, it ain't like that. No, it's not like that for you. I remember another story. I mentioned that too. In fact, Master Yao, he had that story in a couple of his books. When there was a group of select men and a group of non-select men, and they would gather together at this event, and, they were watching sports at first. Game was over, then did what men usually do when there's a group of them, and you done talked about everything about sports. It's talking about women. And, the select guys were saying, yeah, the women did this and that, and the non-select guys are like, nah, that don't happen. And then one of the select guys, he went and got some women, and they confirmed stuff, and the women were like, oh yeah, we be doing this, we be doing that, we just don't do it for all guys. It's like, man. But it's just a different perspective. And I'm gonna be real. That's why at some point, I'm getting less and less patience, because all I'm doing is presenting my perspective, but my philosophy. I'm giving you my world. I don't want to hear about the other worlds. I'm saying this is possible. Like some guys say, oh, that's crazy, or they'll be like, oh, it's cold. No, it's maybe cold for you because you haven't lived in that world. It's like something, shout out Cousin T-Taw, he said, every man should spend at least one day in the shadow world. And then you'll be like, shit. And that's it. I'm going to be real. That's some true stuff, man. Because once, like with that money issue I started talking about, once a man has had a woman hand in the pot, and he ain't bring out any money, he ain't give her any gifts, hell, she might have paid for it, then he'd be like, oh, wait. Wait a minute, I don't have to do that. Now, you notice I talk more about, the Goodbar perspective. I ain't gonna say I was a true nice guy. Even when I thought I was just comparing myself to better select guys. But when I look back at it, I was like, wait a minute, I'm still doing better than these other guys. So I was a lower end select. I ain't think so at first, I ain't gonna lie. And then, the gamesman thing, man, I'm lazy about chasing. I told you I used to come on hard when I was younger. But then women themselves saying you ain't have to do that. The women were telling me that shit. They were like, nah, Ron, you don't have to do that. And shit. As far as the money thing, well, you know what? When I got out of school, I was more in service professions when I was working in the government. So I wasn't balling. I was not balling money-wise. It's ironic, the time when I can ball now, I don't. I don't. I live other than a 3-story place, and that's more just because I like space. The next place is either going to be big, like maybe 1 story and just real big or something. But outside of that, I'm like, I don't really show I have money and stuff, and still get attention. I mean, like just going around, just in the area, just having conversations, getting highs and stuff. I don't look like I'm balling or anything, so I don't have a concept of that. The only time I even dress up is really, I might put on some polos that I got at a discount price or Gator for some videos. And, you know, I'll throw on something if I'm doing a summit, but most of the time I'll be in sweats and ordinary clothes, you know? So, but I don't have a concept of it, you know, chasing like that and I'm gonna be real. I could if I chose to. I could if I chose to use that masked man game. I could. And not from YouTube, because y'all notice I never really say what I have that extra degree in. I never say it. One person did point it out who supports me, and that's one of the few times I had to kind of delete a comment because I said, nah, let him figure it out, you know? But he's a good guy otherwise. But I say one guy figured the shit out because, well, I don't really hide it if you know where to look, but at the same time, I don't want attention for that because I ain't doing that particular profession anymore. So that's the thing. But thing is, I just have a different perspective. Like, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Now I know some people say, no, but you're looking at it from your perspective, you know? And all I can provide for you is like, boom. Even like most of my supporters, I noticed like a lot of the guys who, I say most of them really, most, not all. Most of the guys who like maybe follow me on IG, you know, they in that Goodbar range. Most of them. Most of the guys who support me, they can either get multiple women or a real fine woman. I mean, and in fact, on Facebook, just like I saw that one post, I saw this other dude this dude was an ex-model. Like, 28 women in a month was a slow month for him. And he in his 50s got baddie. You know, but he had the same perspective. You know, and that's all it is. And one of the things, and even though it's hard, even for me, man, we just got to respect, okay, that's your point of view. But respect this other guy's point of view and maybe learn from it. Because my thing is this, if we present I'm letting you know it's possible to get women, you know, to actually get women, to actually be in that select group. Because I got some success stories of guys I've taken, a few nice guys who I've taken from non-select to select. But even that, I'm just be real. I'm be honest with you. A lot of times they had it in them anyway. And you do got a lot of guys out there, they actually have it in them. But they might listen to the wrong people. Because that hurt me some when I was young. I was listening to the wrong people. You know? I left a lot on the table. Instead of just chilling, I listened to the wrong people. Like I said, it was a brief period I was like, you know, spending some money or something, but I wasn't getting no pussy behind her. I was good if I got a kiss. Because then when I really look back at it, I said, wait a minute. Because at first I said, well, I got a couple. Then I look back and say, no, I ain't spend no money on her. Didn't spend no money on her. But then the ones I spent money on, like I said, I was good to get a kiss. I had to look back at that. I say, well, damn, it really? Because I'll correct myself if I'm in error, if I find I'm in error. And I was like, nah, I never really spent. Like I said, if y'all heard me say, oh yeah, I spent money, even in this video, because even while I was talking, I was like, well, hold up, nah, I ain't really do that. But it's just a different perspective, you know? I think what had happened, once I got, was practicing body game and everything, I just got to the point, it's like, oh! And I look back at it, I look back now, I said, well, hold up, I could have been doing that all along. But, people listen. And one of the things I'll say this, and I'm just going to put it out there like this. If you're going to, go through stuff, you need to always ask yourself, seriously, you need to ask yourself, okay, is this the life I want to live? Is this the perspective? Yeah, it might have been your reality, but the reality is, and let me go deep thought on y'all, you can always change your reality. You can always change what you're going through. It starts up here. Just change your mindset. First of all, like I said, I personally know some guys, they were able to raise up out of that non-select now. Because it's more of a mindset anyway. Because there are some guys who would be considered nice, who women would consider physically attractive at least. But it's always their mindset that hurt them. That's your F-Boy Island is the perfect example. You had those nice guys, but you couldn't tell the physical difference between the nice guys and F-boys. You could not tell it. It was just a different mindset, because ultimately, even being Goodbar comes down to mindset. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's always a physical element, but shit, you got some. Well, you got some nice guys anyway, who women might consider physically appealing until they open their mouths, or even some gamesmen. You know, because I've heard some women say, that guy's trying too hard or something. They say, nah, he doing all this stuff, he ain't need to. You know, but it's just different perspectives, and it is what it is. Now, because you got some guys thinking, oh, it's over and everything, but then somebody on the other side is looking at it totally different. It's like, damn, man, I gotta deal with all these damn women. You know? I know all these women, I don't even have time for them. Shit. I got scheduled conversations with some women. I know one young friend will see this and she'd be like, yeah, I'm serious, that's how it is. That's it. I got scheduled conversations and shit. It's like, okay, yeah, we can talk on this day. But, it's just different perspectives. And it is what it is, different worlds, man. And I've said that before, but I was really thinking about that. That's why I'm going to be real, too. That's why I ain't big on, like, direct arguments or something. I ain't big on it. It's like, what's the point? I see it. This is my reality. You can hook me up to a lie detector test. You can have a team of FBI, body language readers, psychiatrists, everything right there. And they're going to be like, he's being honest. Seriously. But then somebody else who may be on that non-select, nice guy, incel type of thing, they will be honest too. Because there's no objective truth. See, that's why I always get on that whole objective thing. It's just different worlds. It's your personal truth and then my personal truth. So anyway, I don't want to make this too long and everything. Ah, man. But like I said, there was some stuff, family stuff. It wasn't bad, but it kind of threw me off my schedule. I got to go hard in next week because I got to figure out, there's a lot of little stuff. I got to like maximize my schedule. There's some stuff I'll probably discuss on my Money Matters channel. Just because I'm doing extra stuff. Because anybody noticed, like on my other channels, I was, for a long time, I was doing just podcasts, put a picture up in podcasts. But now, I'm actually filming stuff. And I'm like, filming, editing. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Stuff taking a little bit longer to do now. So I was like, okay, going from working 25 hours a week to 30. But money, 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 money. Oh, and if somebody watching this and thinking, oh, Ron, you ain't really making no money and all that. Okay. I want women to think that too. Then when they try and check me out or something, they ain't thinking like, they ain't seeing the ATM. Oh, man. Yeah, that 3-story townhouse must be a subsidy. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got for today, y'all. I'll get back. Y'all have a good weekend. Because y'all notice I don't do car videos on weekends, but that's family time for me, man. That's family time. Because y'all know me. That's my biggest thing. Anybody, even people follow me on IG, you'll find more pictures of me and my sons together than random young ladies. So, they my hearts. They my pimps. Yeah. So, I got to do stuff like this because, get my red bottom shoes on and stuff. Especially especially my youngest son. Everybody call him my clone and everything. That dude be having a list of stuff he wants. Good Lord. Anyway, but wouldn't give it up for the planet. So anyway, y'all. I'll talk to y'all. You have a great